So I've talked about a couple of the ways of searching for stuff within the ship index database itself, but I'd like to highlight something very quickly with let's see, with if I'm just going to go to Google, everybody's favorite search engine, and I want to highlight some things that you can do to be more effective when you're searching for vessels just out in the wide web. If you were to type constellation, you're going to find all kinds of different things. And a lot of them are certainly not the vessel that you're looking for. But if you use the phrase around and then put a number in there, which represents the number of words that you'd like it to be near something, you can then do around and sloop of war, say. And then you're going to bring up specifically the constellation that is in Baltimore Harbor now. And you've significantly narrowed down the results that you're finding. And I expect that if we take out around here, we'll still get some of these, but they're not going to be quite as specific. They're pretty good. But if you're looking for a ship named Cleveland, and you know what kind of vessel it is, those are some ways that you can narrow it down and get better results when you're looking in Google, for example. In the list I put together, I highlighted a couple of these instructions and the different ways of typing this in, and also wanted to mention that there are many ship registers that exist. Registers, directories, and things like that. Some of them have been digitized, but many have not. And finding directories of registers is a bit tough. It's something that I'd like to work on and make more visible. Like the early Lloyd's registers are available online, but they haven't been, and they have been digitized, but they haven't been put into like a spreadsheet so that you can really search them. And some of the digitization projects, particularly these ones from the 1930s, didn't turn out quite well. But if you go back to these earlier ones, you can go back and find the original registers. So if you're looking for a vessel, especially an English one from the 1780s, for example, you can look in these to learn a little bit about them. But this is a good mention of the variation of resources that you can find. Sometimes they're going to be just one entry about the vessel with very little information about it, like these annual publications from Lloyd's Register. Here's the Aldbrough, information about maybe who was the captain at the time, the size of the vessel in tonnage, and this was probably where the Philadelphia here is either where it was built or where it's registered or something where it was last coppered or something like that. And there's other information here as well that can give you, it's just a tiny bit of information. It's very different from that directory dictionary of American naval fighting ships, for example, which gives you a history of that particular vessel. And then there are other things like the ones we saw from New Bedford, which are about a specific voyage. So things vary greatly in what you'll find when looking in the collection, when you're looking in different resources. If you are looking in WorldCat and you find something that's interesting, I'm going to try to find a random book. All of these are directories which have been digitized by Mystic Seaport, and so you can find a lot of information here. Let's see. Laura asked, where do you go to find the key of what information is in each column? You'll find it in the very first pages, I believe, for these. Actually, no. I guess you just have to know. There may be some discussion earlier on. This is from the 1780s, though. It looks like the early part of this was not preserved. This is a reprinted edition. I'm not quite sure. It's a good question. I think it's going to vary by resource, and I'm not seeing much in this one. I'd have to look closer to figure out what's going there. So I wanted to, I'll use this as an example. Okay, Stafford Bark, inventory of the Mallory family papers. Ah, that's interesting to see. So apparently, so we did see that Peabody Essex Museum has a logbook from the of the Stafford, and it looks like Mystic Seaport may also as well. They did in 1964. It's unlikely that they've gotten rid of it, but you might want, it might be something that looks interesting. So if you find something that looks interesting, you can click on the Find in a Library link to see who has that particular resource. And it will go into WorldCat, which is something I described a little bit earlier. I mentioned earlier, but I didn't describe. WorldCat is a directory of all of, not all, but many of the, it is a compilation of the holdings of many libraries in the US and around the world. It can be incredibly useful at times. There have been some changes there over the last couple of years that have made it a bit harder to use in some ways. And sometimes you don't find all of the versions of a particular book that you're looking for. In this case, we found, here's inventory of the Mallory papers. It believes that I am based in Ithaca, New York, which is actually true. And it sees that, oh, Cornell University has got a copy of this, and they're not very far away. Onondaga County Public Library also has a copy, and these other libraries have got copies as well. So if you put your zip code into here, it will tell you what resources are in there. Christina asked, how about JSTOR? Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to point out the question.
Yeah, Christina asked, how about JSTOR? Is that equal to WorldCat? It is not. It is different. JSTOR is a collection of old magazines or journals, primarily scholarly journals, and they have taken many hundreds of these journals, digitized them, and made them available. And the early runs are generally available to pretty much anybody. So they're incredibly valuable. But they're different in the sense that they took all of these journals and they put them all available online. What WorldCat is doing is saying, I know that these libraries own this particular title, and I'm just going to tell you that they own it. I'm not giving you digital access to that particular resource. They have this terrible borrow link here. Like you could borrow something from a library that you have absolutely no connection with. You could probably still go see it, but you can't necessarily borrow it. Maybe you could get it through interlibrary borrowing, but that again is a bit of a challenge. It's a misnomer, and I don't like the changes that they have made here. But so that's a little bit of a difference between JSTOR and WorldCat. I've tried to do some neat things to find all of the ships that are mentioned in all of the different issues of JSTOR, which is a real project and not one that was successful, I'm afraid. But JSTOR is an incredible resource and really valuable, especially if you have a bit of time and have an unusual name or of a person or a ship. You could try searching there and just seeing what comes back. So I'm going to jump back here. I think we've covered a couple of the things that I wanted to highlight here. Let's see, Rebecca, if you select view all formats, in addition to sometimes be able to find a PDF version of the book or document you're looking for. That could be true if it's in Google Books or HathiTrust, but those are only going to be books that were published before 1924 or something like that, when they're either those books or books that are completely out of copyright because, say, they were published by the US government. The US government doesn't put copyright on its books, so those are freely available to share. The same with the others that you find in Google Books. And so that one that I clicked on to try to take me to HathiTrust, there's just been a change. The full text of that particular book is in HathiTrust, but my attempt to link to the specific page didn't quite work out.